So, if you were able to see all the good and bad things that would happen to you and your loved ones, or more accurately, if you lived through it, would you still take the same path that would lead to those bad outcomes, or would you try to change anything? Yeah, we all think linearly, from the path of choices to consequences. One choice or a cause leads to a consequence or an effect, and then that effect becomes the cause for another effect, and the chain reaction takes place. In other words, we think about life in a causal way, where past changes affect future consequences. But for the sake of argument or analysis, let's think from the point of view of a different system that is not causal. Say instead of one action starting a chain reaction that leads to an end result, there is a system where the agent must already have known or calculated the end point so that it properly knows what path to take to reach that consequence. Now, I know you're already starting to worry about free will and what this system would implicate. But just bear with me and keep an open mind. In such a system, there's no cause effect chain relationship. Everything happens because it is the best path that leads to the pre identified or determined outcome. Well, this is how the heptapods and later Louise perceive the world in the film Arrival, or if you prefer the short story, Stories of Your Life. Now let's diverge from this practical explanation and dive deeper into its real world implications as well as psychological implications in terms of the film or the short story. As the heptapods share their knowledge or weapon of language with Louise, she becomes able to perceive language, thoughts, and even time as a complete picture. Or, in other words, she knows the outcomes, all of them, and just takes the most efficient path toward the outcomes, as explained in the previous section. This means that she has access to all the memories of her life, from the beginning to the end. If we think about how she thinks from our normie mind perspective, that is, for our simple brains, she has access to the past, the future, and the present all at once. Time is parallel for her. She exists at all points of time of her existence at the same time. Now let's think about everything from Louise's perspective. If you were able to see all the good and bad things that would happen to you and your loved ones, or more accurately, if you lived through it parallelly, would you still take the same path that would lead to those very outcomes, or would you try to change it? In the film, Louise knows what is going to happen. She has already experienced what is going to happen to her beautiful daughter. She is going to have a very rare disease without any cure, which is going to kill her very young. If you know that your child is about to die so young and with years of suffering, would you still choose to have her? In the film, Louise's husband, when Louise tells her what's going to happen, implies that she made the wrong choice. Unable to bear the burden of the known future, he detaches himself from this family. So, did Louise make the wrong choice to marry him or to have the child? There were many points in time when Louise could have made a different choice. When the heptapods left and the two were left staring at the sky, sharing a beautiful romantic moment together, she could have stopped the relationship right there from developing further. Then, even if she chose to love him, there was yet another critical moment of choice. She could have said no when he asked if they should make a baby. Still, she chose not to stop her baby from being born. Why? Well, if we follow the science or the more complex explanation, we can say that it was not possible at all for her to stop anything or change anything. The universe would just not allow that, and her choice would always be the same. Recall that for her, choices do not lead to the outcomes. The outcome is already fixed, and the choices are not really choices for her, they are a necessity. But instead of this more Christopher Nolan-y explanation, let's look from a more human point of view. Each time she faced these choices, she could, at the same time in parallel, experience all the beautiful moments that they would have together, and she values the beautiful moments much more than the final difficult ones. The joy of birth, the rearing, the endearing, the teaching and learning, the love, the quarrel, it was way too precious for her. And also, even if a child ended up having a very short life, her child did some amazing and beautiful things. The world was a better place because of her. So of course Louise made that choice, and she would have made the same choice every single time in every single universe. I will not ask you to like or subscribe to this video. I give you the choice. What I would love though is to hear what you think of the presentation of choices and consequences of language, of love, and of time in the film or the short story if you prefer it. Have a great end of the year and see you in 2024. Goodbye and have a nice day.